Hey, my name's TC Burr. Welcome to Yet, a podcast created to encourage you to get your goal or idea out of your head and into reality. On this podcast, you'll hear stories, encouragements, tips, and ideas to help you write your book, start your business, launch your podcast, or whatever it is you hope to accomplish. Because it's not that you haven't done it, it's just that you haven't done it yet. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Yet podcast. Today on the podcast, I want to encourage you to do what you love. Sounds easy, right? You shouldn't need that much encouragement to do that. But as is the theme this season on the podcast, I'm really majoring on rest and grace. And I think for most creatives, writers, entrepreneurs, people who are doing creative work, it is very easy for us to get sucked into what I will call and what has been called hustle culture, right? There's so many things you have to do to get your name out there, to market yourself, to be present and be consistent online on social media and elsewhere. And it can become like a job. It can become a chore. It can become tedious. And so I want to encourage you, whether you're writing a book or working on some other big project, to do something that you love, because when you do what you love, some amazing things can happen. So real quick, a couple updates are a couple reasons why I think you should do that. First, this is going to sound super self-explanatory, and forgive me if it's too simplistic, but if you're doing something that you love, you're going to have more fun. Right? That sounds obvious, but there's a reason that old expression, time flies when you're having fun. There's a reason that's an expression, because think about this. Imagine two scenarios. The first is you are on a vacation in front of the ocean and you've taken a week off, you've traveled to some exotic location and you've got your feet in the sand, no responsibilities, nothing you have to do. Your only job for that week at the beach is to relax, to rest, and just to enjoy yourself. How fast does that week typically go? If you're anything like me, that week is going to fly by because you're enjoying it. You're in the moment. You're having fun. Now, juxtapose that with your hardest week at work, whether you own your own business or you work for a company. Imagine the most difficult, the most frustrating, the most challenging week at work. Sometimes those weeks can feel like they take forever because you're not doing something you love. You're doing the hard part of your job, the frustrating part of your job, the part of your job that you hate the most is happening during that week. And so the same amount of time has elapsed in either case, but obviously the vacation at the beach goes by much faster, or at least it seems like it does, because you're having a good time. So number one, do what you love because you're going to have a lot more fun. And connected to that, number two, the second reason you should do what you love, because as you're doing something that's fun, you are much less likely to burn out. Think about it. Why do people burn out? Why do people get frustrated and give up on projects? It's because they stop being fun. And as my friend Paula said on an earlier episode of this podcast, if you're writing a book, if you're launching a podcast, if you're starting a business, or whatever it is that you're working on, you got into it mostly because you wanted it to be fun. It should be fun. And so if you're having fun, you are much less likely to burn out. You're going to persevere in it because you enjoy the work that you're doing. That's one of the things I've had a lot of people on threads ask lately. Hey, give me your best advice. I'm about to start a podcast. And one of the things that I tell them over and over is make sure you pick a topic that you really enjoy. So I love talking to entrepreneurs and creatives and writers about their projects. I get so fired up and energized talking about the writing process, the creative process. I love hearing stories of other writers and challenges they've had to overcome, advice and encouragement that has helped them, and things that they want to share with others, whether it's resources, encouragement, you name it. I love that stuff. And that's a big part of the reason why I've been able to continue this podcast and why I will continue it into the future, because I love talking about this stuff. So doing something you love is going to help you have a lot more fun. It's also going to help you avoid burnout because you're going to just keep enjoying doing it. And the third reason I think you should do what you love is sometimes you're going to see results that are completely unexpected and better or different than maybe you could have ever imagined. And so to illustrate this, I'd love to share a story with you. So last year around Halloween, my family participates in Halloween. I know not everybody does, but for us, we like the idea of connecting with our neighbors and dressing up in cute little outfits and going to get candy. Like, we're yes to all of that. We don't go all in on the spooky side of Halloween. We've got little kids, and so that's one of the reasons we don't do that. But we like the fun, pretending and dressing up, and we all like chocolate. So historically, we have done Halloween, and we like to have fun with it. So we are that family that has done like family costumes. So one year we were a football team. One year we were the Scooby-Doo crew. One year we were Cat in the Hat. That was a fun one. My wife was pregnant, and we drew the little fishbowl on her pregnant belly on her t-shirt. So we've done a lot of that. We'll probably continue to do that, although our kids are getting older, so I don't know how long they'll keep doing the family costumes. But the other thing that we do for Halloween is we like to carve pumpkins, and we'll have a jack-o'-lantern or 2 or 3 on our front porch during the Halloween season. And last year, and this is where this all connects. Last year, around Halloween, we were in the backyard carving pumpkins. Had a great time. It was kind of a family thing, and we're, let your kids run around with really sharp knives. What could go wrong? Nothing did go wrong, thankfully, but one of the things that did end up happening, unbeknownst to us, is we dropped one of those pumpkin seeds in our yard. And so we go through the winter and the spring and all of that, and then we had no idea that happened because we had cleaned up after ourselves, for the most part. But later in the summer, we noticed a little sprout of a plant coming up amid the grass. And my wife kind of alerted me to it at first. I probably would have just thought it was a weed and cut it with the mower. But she said, I think that's a pumpkin plant. Let's keep it and see what happens. And so it's been fun for our kids over the last couple of months to kind of watch this thing grow. It started off as a tiny little plant and has burst forth into this giant vine that's huge in our backyard. Our neighbors are probably like, what are they doing over there? But we've also had a couple of really big, nice pumpkins grow out of this thing. We have a garden in our backyard that gives us varying degrees of success, not always the most fruitful thing in the world. This pumpkin seed, we didn't do anything. We didn't water it. We didn't prep the land. Literally all we did was accidentally drop a seed, and all of this flourishing in life that we never expected is happening because we started off doing something we love. We were spending time with our children, doing something fun, investing in them. And one of the results of that was this amazing experience of having them watch this pumpkin plant flourish. And now we've got 2 huge pumpkins coming from this plant, a couple of smaller ones. We'll see what happens with those. But we're going to have at least one that we can carve and maybe another that we can give to a neighbor or some friends. And again, we had no idea, no expectation of this happening. This was kind of a bonus pumpkin that we didn't expect. So the point here is, when you do something that you love, you may get unexpected results that you never anticipated, but they might even be bigger and better than you could have ever imagined. And so, writer, entrepreneur, podcaster, creator who hears this, I hope you hear, if nothing else, I hope you hear this. Sometimes there will be challenges, but if you're doing something you love, in the end, it's going to be worth it because you're going to have a lot more fun. You'll be less likely to burn out, and you may see wonderful results that you could have never expected. So it's a short one today. I hope it's an encouragement. I will talk to you soon. Later. Hey, thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you would do me a huge favor, if you got value out of this podcast, which I'm assuming maybe you did since you're still here, would you scroll down to the bottom of your podcast app and rate and review the show? And maybe share it with someone on social media or with a friend just in a conversation. It would mean so much to get this message out to more people, and I think it would be amazing if you would share it. So that would be, as a personal favor to me, I'd really love it. Also, if you want to know more about me and what I'm working on, you can visit my website. It's tcburr.com. I hope you'll check it out. You can contact me there. Thanks again, and I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.